Three Gen Z baddies mocked a poor shoemaker, laughed at his work, and called his life useless. But years later, they stood in front of his glass office, voices trembling, pride gone, begging for a place in his life. Because the man they mocked became the man everyone respected. Musa was 35, but the way life had pressed him, you would think he was older. The kind of 35 that comes with tired eyes and quiet calculations. The kind that makes a man count his steps because every step is money and every mistake is hunger. He had no wife, no child, no certificate that could open doors. Only a wooden toolbox with rusted edges, a small umbrella that had seen too many rainy seasons, and hands that smelled permanently like glue and leather. His father died when Musa was 7. One moment the man was there, the next moment the compound was filled with crying and plastic chairs and women whispering, "So young, so young." His mother tried to carry the entire world alone. She sold things, she begged sometimes, even if she didn't call it begging. She took insults with forced smiles. She worked until her body started refusing her. Primary school was the farthest Musa went. Not because he was dull, because poverty has a way of ending children's education without asking for their opinion. So Musa learned a trade, shoemaking. At first, it was shame. Then it became survival. Then it became skill. And even though life didn't give him much, Musa still had one thing people rarely keep in poverty: principles. He used to tell himself at night, when his stomach had only managed half food, "I will not bring children into suffering. I suffered it. My child will not." Sometimes he imagined a wife, someone calm, someone who would look at him and still see a man. Then reality would hit him like cold water. How would he feed her? So Musa made a hard decision and called it dignity. "I would rather remain single than marry someone's daughter and watch her suffer." That was the kind of man he was. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly determined. That morning, he wore his cleanest, faded shirt, the one he reserved for days he wanted to feel human. He cleaned his nails with a small stick, combed his hair, lifted his toolbox, and walked toward the market. The market was already waking up like a noisy bird. On the way, a tired woman stopped him, breathless like she had been searching. "Musa, I beg. This evening come help me. My children's school shoes don't open." Musa nodded respectfully. "I will come, Mama." He continued. He reached his usual spot, close enough to the food section where people passed with urgency and money. He opened his box, arranged his things like a man arranging his future. Thread, needle, glue, polish. He sat down, ready. He didn't know destiny was already moving through the same market. Mimi, Zara, and Tenny came in like trouble, dressed as fashion. 3 best friends, loud laughter, shiny lips, confidence that comes from never having to beg for transport fare. They walked like the market belonged to them. Zara wore slim designer sandals, the kind that looked delicate but expensive. She was talking, laughing, gesturing with her hands like she was performing. Then it happened. She stepped into muddy water. Slip. Her sandal strap snapped like it was tired of pretending. Mimi screamed with laughter. "Ah, you go trek barefoot today." Tenny bent over laughing, almost choking. Zara's face twisted. "Una de mad? This is not funny." She lifted her foot, staring at the broken strap like it offended her. That's when Tenny's eyes moved and landed on Musa under his umbrella. "See that man?" she said, pointing. "Shoemaker." They approached. Zara didn't greet. She didn't even look at his face properly. She just stretched the sandal toward him. "Fix-am." Musa looked up politely. "It's 500 naira, he said calmly. The girls didn't even blink. "Fix it," they answered together, like 500 was air. Musa bent down and began stitching. His fingers moved with practice. No rush, no showmanship, just clean work. That's when the energy changed. Mimi leaned toward Zara and spoke loud enough for Musa to hear, enjoying the cruelty. "How person they survive with this kind work for 2026? Tenny laughed. "See him cloth, dusty like roadside." Zara rolled her eyes, chewing gum slowly. "These are the type of men we go marry and start giving birth like birds. No plan, no money, just plenty children." They giggled. Musa kept sewing. The needle passed through leather steadily. Tenny continued, louder, the way bullies get bolder when nobody stops them. "Imagine introducing this kind person to your parents." Mimi lifted her phone, making it worse. "Occupation: roadside shoemaker." Zara added the final blow, looking down at him like he was dirt. "You people should find something meaningful to do with your lives." Musa felt it. You could see it in the way his jaw tightened briefly. But he didn't shout. He finished the stitching neatly, wiped his hands on a small towel. Then he stood up and handed the sandal back. His voice was low, controlled. "If I wasn't doing this job, how would your sandal be fixed now?" They paused for half a second. Not respect, surprise. Musa continued, still calm. "Should I start stealing so I can earn money?" Nearby traders turned their heads. Musa said one sentence like a nail. "There is dignity in honest work, no matter how small." That was when pride exploded. Tenny scoffed loudly. "Did you hear, Am? Dignity?" Mimi laughed harder. "Is this rubbish you do also labor?" Zara crossed her arms and smiled with cruelty. "I pity the miserable woman that will marry you." That one entered Musa's chest. For a moment his eyes changed. Not anger, something deeper, a private pain. But he didn't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. He simply said, quietly, like a man speaking to time itself, "Life has a way of surprising people." They frowned. He added one more sentence, soft but sharp. "One day, you will remember today." Tenny stepped forward aggressively. "Are you threatening us?" Mimi's hand almost rose. People murmured. Musa didn't argue. He packed his tools, closed his box, lifted it onto his head, and walked away, while the girls rained insults behind him like stones. Musa kept walking, and the laughter followed him longer than the road. The girls entered a nearby provision store to buy groceries. The shop owner, an older woman with tired eyes, watched them talk and laugh about the shoemaker like he wasn't human. Then she finally said calmly, "The way you girls treated that man was unfair." Zara snapped her head. "Who asked you?" Tenny stepped in. "Mind your business unless you don't want us to buy from you." The shop owner swallowed the rest of her words and continued packing their items. But her eyes said what her mouth could not. "One day you will meet life." Meanwhile, Musa walked like a man carrying invisible weight. The words replayed in his head. What kind of future is this? I pity the woman that will marry you. This rubbish you do. He had heard insults before, but this one entered him differently because it touched the fear he already had. Maybe they were right. He lived in one small room. No savings, no progress. He couldn't even eat well. Hunger hit him suddenly, like his body remembered it had been empty since morning. He entered a buka. The smell of pepper soup and fried stew made his stomach twist. He stood at the counter and spoke quietly. "Madam, small rice, no meat." The woman scooped rice into an aluminum plate. Not full, just enough to survive. Musa sat, waiting, eyes down. Then a man at a nearby table looked up. Elo, a construction worker Musa had greeted many times in the market. Bello stared at Musa's plate. Then he called the woman. "Madam, give 'em full plate, 2 meat, 1 cold drink. I go pay." Musa looked up, shocked. Bello waved it off. "Eat first." The cold drink came out from a cooler, water dripping down the bottle like it was sweating. Musa took the first bite, and you could see it. Relief, shame, gratitude. Bello leaned closer, voice low. "Musa, how long you want suffer for this shoe work? Come sight. Construction. You fit make 10,000 daily. If you strong, you go make more." Musa hesitated. His mouth wanted to say no. But the insult from the girls was still fresh. "Are you sure?" Musa asked. Bello nodded with confidence. "As long as you fit carry, money day." That sentence entered Musa. Carry. Strength. Maybe he needed to stop being soft. Maybe he needed to stop being small. Musa nodded slowly. "I will come tomorrow." The next morning, Musa did not go to his umbrella. He did not arrange thread. Instead, he stood at a construction site. The noise was different. Men shouting, cement smell, blocks stacked like punishment. Bello pointed upward. "You go carry blocks, go 3rd floor." Musa stared up. 3rd floor. He swallowed. Then he lifted the first block. It was heavier than he expected. By the second trip, sweat had soaked his shirt. By the third, his waist began to burn. By midday, Musa's hands that were used to needle and leather were now shaking from concrete dust and pain. The younger men moved like machines. They ran up the stairs, laughing, joking, tossing blocks like nothing. Musa felt his pride fighting his body. "If I stop, I will look weak." He forced himself. Up and down, up and down. By afternoon, his legs felt like they were filled with water. The contractor watched him for a long time without speaking. Then, before closing time, the contractor called him. "You," the man said bluntly, "don't come again." Musa blinked. "Sir? This work no be for you. You slow. You go injure yourself. Don't come tomorrow." The words hit like another rejection. Musa nodded, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, he already knew. He couldn't survive that life. Here's the painful part. While Musa was killing himself at the site, the market was calling his name. Customers came. Broken heels, torn sandals, children's shoes. People waited. "Where Musa?" one neighbor kept answering. "He no come today." Then a man arrived in a luxury SUV, polished shoes, expensive watch, clean scent. He asked one question. "Where is Musa, the shoemaker?" They told him Musa wasn't around. The man frowned slightly. "I'll return." Then he drove away. Destiny came looking for Musa that day, and Musa was not there. That evening, Bello paid Musa 15,000 naira. Musa stared at the money like it was foreign currency. For a moment, pride rose. Then he walked home, and every step hurt. His waist throbbed like somebody was twisting it. When he entered his room, he dropped the money on the mattress and sat down slowly, breathing like a man who had fought. Then he whispered honestly, "Yes, I made money today." He paused, tears almost coming out of frustration. "But I cannot survive that daily." He lay back, staring at the ceiling. Then another thought entered him, quietly but clearly. Maybe my problem is not shoemaking. Maybe my problem is how I see shoemaking. He swallowed. What if I improve what I already know, instead of running from it? That thought stayed with him like a seed. That night, Musa didn't sleep early. The small bulb flickered twice. The room smelled like sweat and dust. He lay there, mind drifting between shame and hope. Morning came. He wore his faded shirt again, picked up his toolbox, paused at his door. No more running. As he walked toward the market, the woman from earlier stopped him again, relieved to see him. "Musa, I came yesterday. They said you no come." Musa's chest tightened. "I'm sorry, Mama." She brought out 4 pairs of children's school shoes from a nylon bag. "All don tear. I beg, help me." Musa nodded and sat down immediately. Thread, needle, leather. He worked like a man returning to himself. Across the road, a black SUV hit a pothole and stopped awkwardly. Inside sat Mrs. Lawson, elegant and composed, dressed for an appointment. Beside her sat her 15-year-old daughter Kiki, in neat uniform, backpack tight to her chest. The driver stepped out. "Madam, the rim is affected. We may need to change it." Mrs. Lawson checked time. Late. Kiki's voice shook. "Mum, I have a test." Mrs. Lawson sighed, controlled frustration. "Let's get to the junction. We'll take a taxi." They stepped out. Heat rose from the road. Horns blared. Commuters clustered like ants. At the bus stop, people pushed, rushed, fought for space. Kiki stepped forward. Snap! Her sandal strap broke. She almost stumbled. Someone behind her complained loudly. "Auntie, move!" Kiki bent quickly, embarrassed, voice small. "Mum?" Mrs. Lawson looked at the sandal and the crowd and felt that helpless anger. Not now. Musa saw it from across the road. He paused for a breath, then stood. "Madam," he called gently, "I can fix it." Mrs. Lawson turned. She saw a man under an umbrella holding a needle. Calm voice. No begging, no drama. They crossed to him. Musa took the sandal carefully, examined the torn strap. This one needed real stitching. "Sit," he told Kiki. He worked fast but clean. Needle in, thread tight, edges aligned. He reinforced it twice. Then he handed it back. "Try it." Kiki wore it, stamped lightly. It held. Mrs. Lawson exhaled like she had been holding her breath. "How much?" she asked. Musa shook his head. "It's fine." Mrs. Lawson frowned. "No, tell me." Musa's voice stayed gentle. "She's in a hurry, madam." Mrs. Lawson studied him. Faded shirt, rough hands, clean work. "Thank you," she said sincerely. Kiki smiled bright. "Thank you, sir." They hurried into a taxi. As the taxi pulled away, Kiki looked back through the window at Musa. Musa had already returned to the children's shoes like nothing happened. He did not know that a billionaire's house was about to mention his name. That evening, the Lawson family sat at a long dining table. Quiet luxury, soft light, crystal glass clinking softly. Kiki spoke excitedly. "Daddy, the shoemaker was so good. He fixed it quickly and refused payment." Mr. Lawson paused mid-cut. "He refused payment?" "Yes," Kiki said. "He was calm. He didn't even beg." Mrs. Lawson nodded. "He was skilled." Mr. Lawson leaned back slightly. "What is his name?" Kiki thought. "I heard someone call him Musa." Mr. Lawson's eyes narrowed. Musa. Earlier that week, Mr. Lawson had driven to the market to repair an imported Italian leather shoe. He asked for a shoemaker. They told him Musa didn't come that day. He tapped the table lightly, thinking, "Interesting." Then he stood. "Tomorrow, we'll find him." Saturday morning arrived. The market was alive. Roasted corn smoke, pepper smell, traders shouting. Under his umbrella, Musa polished a loafer, blending dye until the leather looked rich again. Then engines slowed. A black G-wagon rolled in and stopped directly in front of him. Market people paused. Doors opened. Kiki stepped out first, smiling. Mrs. Lawson followed, then Mr. Lawson. Musa stood immediately. "Good morning, sir." Mr. Lawson extended his hand. "You're Musa?" "Yes, sir." "My wife and daughter told me about you." Kiki smiled. "Good morning, sir." Mrs. Lawson spoke softly. "We came to thank you properly." Mr. Lawson opened a sleek shoebox. Inside were Italian loafers. "I noticed a defect here," Lawson said, pointing at the seam. "Poorly reinforced." Musa studied it without touching first. Then he lifted it gently and ran his thumb along the seam. "It was glued without double stitching," Musa said quietly. "It will open again." Mr. Lawson's eyebrow lifted. "Can you fix it?" "Yes, sir." "Take your time. Bring it to this address this evening." He handed Musa a card. Maitama, a gated estate. The G-wagon drove away. Market people stared at Musa. Musa sat down and worked, carefully. That evening, Musa arrived at the estate gate. Security checked his name. "You're expected." The gate opened smoothly. Inside was quiet confidence. White walls, trim hedges, soft lights. A staff member led Musa into a dining area. Mr. and Mrs. Lawson sat calmly. Kiki waved like she had been waiting. Musa handed over the shoes. Mr. Lawson inspected the seam. Pressed it. No movement. He flipped the shoe, checked the stitching. Clean, reinforced. Better than before. "You didn't just repair it," Lawson said. "You improved it." Musa stood respectfully. "If something is worth doing, it should be done properly." Dinner was served. Musa sat carefully, trying not to look confused by the cutlery. Mr. Lawson asked calmly, "Your education?" "Primary school, sir." "And you've been doing this since?" "Since I was 15. Lawson leaned back. "Can you make shoes from scratch?" Musa hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Yes, sir. Measure, cut, stitch, finish." Mrs. Lawson looked interested. "From scratch?" "Yes, ma." Mr. Lawson's voice lowered. "If resources were not your problem, what would you build?" Musa swallowed. He could have begged for money. He didn't. He chose vision. "I would build shoes that compete with imported ones," he said quietly. "Made here, with discipline." Mr. Lawson's face didn't show excitement. It showed recognition. "I won't rush this," Lawson said later, walking him out. "I'll call you in 1 week." Musa nodded. "Thank you, sir." That week was torture. Musa kept working, kept waiting, kept telling himself not to hope too loudly. Then the call came. "Musa, Sani Abacha Plaza, UCHE, 1 hour." When Musa arrived, he was led upstairs. A door opened. A fully furnished shoemaking studio waited for him. Machines, leather, tools, everything. Mr. Lawson placed keys on the table. "This is your starting point," he said. "Not charity, a project. Prove your standard." Musa held the keys like they were fragile. That day, Musa did not become rich. He became responsible. The first months were hard. He sketched late, cut wrong sometimes, restarted, refused to rush. Mr. Lawson introduced his first collection quietly. 20 pairs. They sold out. Orders followed. As Musa began dealing with high-end clients, he noticed something. Their English was smooth. His own was careful. He hated that feeling of being small inside a big room. So Musa did something that shocked even him. He enrolled in evening English classes. A small classroom. Adults. Quiet struggle. He practiced words that sounded like another world. Entrepreneur. Artisanal. Bespoke. Premium finish. He read newspapers aloud at night. He practiced speaking in front of the mirror inside his studio, correcting himself until confidence started replacing fear. Months later, at a small launch event, Musa spoke clearly. My brand represents disciplined craftsmanship rooted in resilience. Mr. Lawson watched with quiet pride. 3 years passed. Musa Atelier became a respected name. Executives wore his shoes. Diplomats ordered privately. Not noisy fame, solid prestige. Then the story returned to Zara. 3 years later, Zara's living room was cool and stylish. Soft music played in the background, but the calm did nothing to quiet her thoughts. Her degree certificate lay inside a clear file on the center table. So did several printed CVs. 2 years after finishing school, she was still unemployed. Tenny scrolled through job listings on her phone. Mimi sat cross-legged on the rug, reading aloud from an opening she had just found. Customer service experience required. Excellent communication skills. Zara leaned back against the couch, tired. I'm exhausted, she said. Every interview ends with, we'll get back to you. Tenny shrugged. Welcome to Nigeria. Mimi glanced up. At least you studied something solid. Zara forced a weak smile, but frustration sat heavy inside her. Silence settled briefly. Later that week, while scrolling through vacancies online, a listing caught her attention. Customer Relations Officer, Musa Atelier. The name felt familiar. Curiosity held her. She applied. The building stood tall and quiet, glass reflecting the afternoon sun. Clean lines, polished entrance, quiet confidence. Zara adjusted her blazer and walked inside. The receptionist smiled politely. The boss will see you now. Zara nodded, steadying herself, then stepped into the office with professional confidence. And froze. Behind the desk sat Musa. Not under an umbrella, not on a wooden stool. Calm, refined, controlled. He looked up slowly. Recognition. No anger. Zara's throat went dry. Good afternoon, Musa said evenly. Her memories rushed back like heat. I'm sorry, she whispered, voice trembling. Please forgive me. Musa studied her quietly. Then he spoke with the calm of a man who no longer needed revenge. Leave your CV with the secretary. Zara walked out on unsteady legs. Outside, Tenny and Mimi waited. Well? Mimi asked. Zara sat down slowly. It's him. Tenny frowned. Who? Zara swallowed. The shoemaker, Musa. Mimi's mouth opened. How? Zara pulled out her phone and searched. Photos, articles, interviews. Founder and creative director, Musa Atelier. She scrolled further and saw a line about business communication classes and international clients. Her voice dropped to a whisper. He even went back to school. Tenny stared at the building sign. Mimi spoke softly. So what now? Zara looked at Musa's photo on her screen. Regret was there, but something else was rising behind it. She inhaled slowly. I'm not done. To be continued.